December's weather across North America is a study in extremes, a dramatic showcase of nature's power and unpredictability. From the icy grip of the north to the waterlogged streets of the south, the continent is experiencing a season unlike any in recent memory. In Seattle, residents wake to find their city buried under record-early snow, transforming familiar streets into a winter wonderland and a logistical nightmare. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles to the south, Houston faces relentless flooding, with neighborhoods submerged and families forced to evacuate. These are two sides of a dramatic, invisible line dividing the continent, where winter's fury takes on vastly different forms. Arctic air has settled over the northwest and the towering Rockies, freezing landscapes and sending temperatures plummeting. At the same time, the south is awash in warmth and moisture, fueling powerful storms and torrential downpours that seem to arrive without warning. This isn't just a random patchwork of weather. It's a connected atmospheric tug of war, a battle between opposing forces that stretches across the globe and has far-reaching consequences for millions. The impacts are immediate and widespread. In Denver, airports are paralyzed as blizzards ground flights and travelers scramble for answers. In the south, emergency crews brave dangerous floodwaters to rescue stranded residents. And in the northeast, families peer out frosted windows, wondering if this Christmas will be blanketed in snow or drenched in rain. The intensity and unpredictability of this December feels amplified, more chaotic than usual, with storms and cold snaps arriving in rapid succession. For many, it's a winter that defies expectations and challenges even the most seasoned forecasters. So, what's driving this wild weather? The answer lies far out in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, where vast stretches of water hold the key to our climate's most powerful shifts. This year, we're witnessing the signature of a powerful La Niña, arriving hot on the heels of an equally intense El Niño. These back-to-back climate events are rare, and their combined effects are rewriting the rules of winter across the continent. To truly understand the chaos outside your window, the snow, the floods, the wild swings in temperature, we need to dive into the science behind the planet's most famous climate duo, El Niño and La Niña. Their influence reaches far beyond the Pacific, shaping weather patterns from coast to coast. Let's break down how these oceanic giants are rewriting the rules of winter and what their ongoing battle means for the months ahead. The story of fire and ice across the continent is just beginning. Picture the tropical Pacific, a vast expanse of blue stretching thousands of miles, shimmering under the sun. This region isn't just beautiful, it's the beating heart of our planet's climate system. Think of it as a giant climate engine, constantly churning and influencing weather patterns across the globe. Under normal conditions, strong trade winds blow from east to west, pushing warm surface water toward Asia and piling it up in the western Pacific. But every few years, this reliable pattern can suddenly flip, setting off a chain reaction. Enter El Niño and La Niña, two opposite phases of a powerful climate cycle called the El Niño Southern Oscillation, or ENSO. These phases are like the two sides of a coin, each with its own dramatic impact. During El Niño, the warm phase, those trade winds weaken or even reverse. Warm water that's usually trapped in the west surges eastward, spreading across the central and eastern Pacific. This shift in ocean temperatures causes the jet stream to move, bringing heavy storms and flooding to the southern United States, while the northern states experience milder, warmer winters. In contrast, La Niña is the cool phase. Here, the trade winds grow even stronger than usual, pushing warm water back toward Asia and allowing cold, deep water to well up along the South American coast. This upwelling of cold water cools the eastern Pacific, setting the stage for very different weather patterns. The polar jet stream dives south, bringing frigid air and heavy snow to the northern U.S., while the southern states often see drier, warmer conditions. These dramatic shifts in ocean and air currents don't just affect the Pacific, they send ripples across the entire planet, influencing rainfall, droughts, hurricanes, and even wildfires for millions of people. When El Niño strikes, the southern U.S. braces for floods and storms, while the north enjoys a break from harsh winter cold. But when La Niña takes over, the north faces colder, stormier winters, and the south often endures drought and heat. It's like a massive Pacific seesaw, tipping back and forth between extremes, each swing reshaping weather around the world. This December's wild and unpredictable weather is a direct result of that seesaw slamming hard into La Niña territory, amplifying cold and storms. But to truly understand what's happening now, we need to look back, because last year's record-breaking Super El Niño set the stage for everything we're experiencing today. Last winter, a Super El Niño dominated, pumping record heat into the global climate. California was drenched, the Sierra Nevada buried in snow, and the northern U.S. saw a mild, snow-starved winter. Canada's warmth raised concerns for ecosystems and ski resorts alike. The El Niño-fueled jet stream kept Arctic air at bay, while the south was cooler and wetter. This event spiked global temperatures, fueled marine heat waves, and likely intensified the Atlantic hurricane season. The heat didn't just vanish, it lingered, shaping weather well into summer. This memory in the atmosphere and oceans is why the transition to La Niña has been so volatile. The stage was set for a dramatic reversal. The shift from Super El Niño to strong La Niña was shockingly fast. Instead of a gradual transition, sea surface temperatures in the Pacific plummeted at record speed. Trade winds roared back, pushing warm water west and churning up cold water. This rapid cooling created climate whiplash, one of the fastest transitions ever observed. The atmosphere barely had time to adjust, leaving lingering warmth clashing with new cold. The result, strong temperature gradients and atmospheric instability, fueling extreme weather. The climate engine was thrown into reverse, and the gears are grinding loudly this December. In a classic La Niña winter, the polar jet stream dips south, opening the door for Arctic air. The northern U.S., from Seattle to the Great Lakes, gets colder, snowier weather with active storm tracks. Meanwhile, the south experiences warmer, drier conditions, often leading to drought. California sits in the middle, sometimes clipped by storms, but generally drier, especially in the south. This is the usual playbook: cold and snowy north, warm and dry south. But no two La Niñas are identical. This year, other factors are amplifying the extremes. December 2025's La Niña is supercharged by 4 key factors. First, it's a strong event. Sea surface temperatures have plunged deep into negative territory. Second, a blocking pattern near Greenland, negative NAO, is forcing the jet stream to dive south, intensifying the cold. Third, leftover warmth in the North Pacific creates a sharp temperature contrast, fueling powerful storms. Fourth, the rapid transition left the atmosphere unstable, leading to wild swings in weather. These elements combine to make this La Niña winter more intense than usual. The playbook is in effect, but the volume is turned way up. Let's see how this plays out across the country. This supercharged La Niña is dividing the country into weather extremes, creating a patchwork of conditions that seem to change from one state to the next. From coast to coast, Americans are experiencing a winter like no other, with dramatic shifts in temperature and precipitation. In the Pacific Northwest, relentless snow and cold are hammering cities and mountains alike, great for ski resorts, tough for travel. Residents are bundling up as snowplows work overtime, and the region's iconic evergreens are weighed down by heavy, wet snow. For outdoor enthusiasts, it's a winter wonderland, but for commuters and emergency crews, it's a daily challenge. The Midwest and Great Lakes are locked in a classic, frigid winter, with lake-effect snow burying communities. Towns along the lakeshore are seeing snowdrifts pile up higher than cars, and residents are bracing for more as Arctic air continues to sweep in. Schools are closing, and local governments are urging caution on icy roads. The Northeast is a battleground. Wild temperature swings, messy mixes of snow, rain, and ice, and a high risk for powerful nor'easters. One day it's mild, the next it's a blizzard, keeping everyone on their toes. Coastal areas are especially vulnerable, with storm surges and flooding adding to the chaos. Down south it's mostly warmer and drier, but Gulf moisture is fueling intense rain and flooding in places like Texas and Louisiana. Flash floods are stranding drivers and swelling rivers, while other southern states enjoy mild, spring-like days. The contrast is striking, and the risk of sudden storms remains high. California, a especially the south, is trending dry again, raising drought concerns. Reservoirs are shrinking, and water restrictions may soon return. Farmers and city dwellers alike are watching the skies, hoping for rain that just isn't coming. Each region faces its own set of challenges, shaped by the amplified jet stream and lingering oceanic heat. These forces are steering storms, blocking systems, and making weather patterns more unpredictable than ever before. The weather is unpredictable, and forecasts are more challenging than ever. Meteorologists are working around the clock, updating models as new data pours in. But even the experts admit, this season is keeping everyone guessing. The extremes aren't letting up anytime soon. Emergency crews are on high alert, and communities are preparing for whatever comes next, be it snow, rain, or drought. The nation is bracing for a wild ride as winter continues. What's driving these wild swings? It's all about the jet stream. This fast-moving river of air high above us is twisting and turning more than usual, steering storms and cold snaps in unexpected directions, and making this winter one for the record books. The jet stream is the master architect of this winter's chaos. Picture a river of air, thousands of miles long, dividing cold polar air from warm southern air. When it's flat, weather is calm. But this December, it's wavy and amplified, thanks to La Niña and blocking patterns. Deep troughs over the west and Midwest pull Arctic air south, locking cities like Seattle and Minneapolis in the freezer. Ridges over the southeast block cold, keeping Florida and Georgia warm. The clash between trough and ridge creates a sharp temperature divide across the country. This wobbly jet stream also fuels extreme precipitation, atmospheric rivers in the northwest, flooding in Texas. The jet stream's shape is driving the snow, rain, and temperature roller coaster. It's a continental scale battle, and the jet stream is the front line. As long as it stays wobbly, expect more wild weather ahead. Looking ahead, NOAA forecasts La Niña to remain in control through winter and into early spring. The northern U.S. faces continued cold and snow, with risks of blizzards, lake-effect snow, and nor'easters. The Pacific Northwest will see heavy mountain snow, raising spring flood risks. The South stays warmer and drier, with drought concerns mounting, despite occasional heavy rain events. This winter is drawing comparisons to past strong La Niña years, like 2010-11's Snowmageddon. The patterns suggest more high-impact events are likely. The wild ride of December is just the beginning. Prepare for a long, challenging winter season ahead.